There was a bank account I never knew about. $30,000 inside it. My wife called it her get out fund. I found it on a Tuesday. By Friday nothing in that house belonged to her anymore. The account was open on her laptop when I walked into the kitchen. She had left it on the counter, screen facing up, and gone upstairs for something, and I had walked past it the way you walk past a partner's laptop 1,000 times without looking, and then I had looked. Not deliberately. The number caught my eye the way numbers catch your eye when they are large and unexpected and sitting in an account you did not know existed under a name you recognize as your wife's but attached to an institution you have never heard her mention. $30,214. I stood in the kitchen and looked at the screen. The account name was hers. Her name, her social security number's last 4 digits visible in the account summary, her email address in the profile corner. I had never seen this account in 9 years of marriage. I had never seen this institution. I had never seen this number associated with her name. I heard her footsteps on the stairs. I walked to the refrigerator and opened it and stood looking at the contents while she came back into the kitchen. My name is Joel. My wife's name is Renata. We had been married for 9 years. On the Tuesday I stood at the refrigerator looking at nothing while my brain ran the calculation that $30,000 in a hidden account represented. 9 years is a long time. Long enough to know someone in the complete way that produces the specific blindness of certainty, where you stop examining things because the examining feels unnecessary given how much you already know. I had known Renata completely. I had known her coffee order and her sleep position and the way she held her phone when she was anxious and the specific sound of her laugh when something was genuinely funny rather than politely funny. I had not known about $30,000. She took her laptop from the counter and went to the living room. I closed the refrigerator. I stood in the kitchen for a moment longer. Then I went upstairs to my home office and I closed the door and I sat at my desk and I thought about the name of the institution, which I had read once and which my brain had retained because my brain retains numbers and names and financial information with the automatic precision of someone who had worked in corporate finance for 11 years. I typed the institution's name into my browser. Online Savings Bank. High yield account. The kind of account you open when you want money to sit somewhere it earns interest and is not immediately visible in the daily banking picture. The kind of account you open when you want money no one else can see. The phrase get out fund arrived the following evening. Not from me. Not from a conversation. From Renata's phone, which buzzed on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower and which I did not pick up but which was angled so that the notification preview was visible from where I was sitting. A text from a contact named Petra. The preview read, "How's the get out fund looking? Added anything lately?" I looked at the preview. I looked at it long enough to read it twice. Then I looked at the kitchen wall. Get out fund. Renata was in the shower. The water was running. I could hear it through the ceiling. I sat at the kitchen table with the phrase in my head and I did the thing I had been doing since Tuesday, which was assemble information without acting on it, because I had learned in 11 years of corporate finance that the most expensive mistakes were the ones made before the picture was complete. The picture was not complete. But it was getting there. I need to tell you about our marriage before I tell you what came next because the account and the phrase are data points and data points without context are just numbers. Renata and I had met at 27. Both working. Both building. The early years had been genuinely collaborative, two people who had chosen each other and kept choosing each other in the daily way of people who had not yet found a reason not to. I had been good at this marriage. Not perfect. Present. I had shown up for the ordinary things and the extraordinary ones and the long middle distance of a life shared with another person that is neither ordinary nor extraordinary but just the sustained labor of being together. The financial arrangement had evolved without formal discussion. My income was higher and the higher income had flowed toward the joint expenses, the mortgage and the utilities and the vacations and the larger costs of a shared life. Renata worked and contributed and the contribution was real and the arrangement had never felt like something that needed examining because it had always felt like partnership. The $30,000 in a hidden account under a name I recognized as my wife's did not feel like partnership. The phrase get out fund did not feel like partnership. What it felt like was preparation. Preparation for something she had not told me about. Something she had been preparing for long enough to save $30,000. I called my brother Marcus on Wednesday. Marcus had the quality I needed in that moment, which was the ability to hear something large and respond to it with clarity rather than heat. He had worked as a civil litigator for 12 years and he understood the difference between knowing something and being able to do something with the knowing. I told him about Tuesday. About the account. About the notification. He was quiet for a moment. "How long have you two been having problems?" he asked. I thought about it honestly. "I don't know that we have been," I told him. "From my side." Another pause. "From her side," he replied. I looked at my office wall. "I don't know," I told him. "That's the thing. I don't know." "You need to know before you do anything," he told me. "The account is one piece. The text is one piece. You need the picture." "I know," I replied. "And Joel," he continued. "You need an attorney. Not to do anything yet. Just to understand your position. I had already been thinking about this." "Dana Reeves," I told him. She handled the Whitmore account restructuring 2 years ago. She does family law too. Call her today, Marcus told me. I called her that afternoon. Dana Reeves had the quality of someone who has sat across from a great many people in the first shock of a difficult discovery and has learned to provide clarity without performing it. She listened to everything I told her, the account, the notification preview, the 9 years, the financial arrangement, and she asked questions that were precise and useful, and when I finished she looked at her notes. The account itself is not illegal, she told me. A spouse maintaining a separate account is not fraud. The question is what it was funded with. What do you mean? I asked. If she funded it from her own separate income, Dana told me, it's her money. If she funded it from marital assets, joint accounts, shared income, that changes the analysis significantly. I thought about our financial arrangement. The joint account. The contributions. How would I find out? I asked. Dana looked at me. There are ways, she told me. Some of them are available to you now. Some require a formal process. She paused. I want to ask you something first. I waited. What do you want? She asked. Not what you're angry about. What do you want the outcome to be? I looked at the surface of her desk. I want to understand what I'm actually in, I told her. And then I want to make a decision about it from that understanding. Not from the account. Not from the text. From the full picture. Dana nodded. Then here's what we do, she told me. What we did took 3 days. Not dramatic days. Quiet ones. I went to work and I came home and I ate dinner with Renata and we talked about her day and my day and the ordinary maintenance of a life that was running on the surface while something else ran underneath. Renata did not know I had seen the screen. Renata did not know I had read the notification preview. Renata did not know I had called Marcus and then Dana and that Dana had connected me with a financial forensics specialist named Gregory who had spent 22 years understanding where money went when people did not want it found. Gregory worked fast. By Thursday evening he had enough. The picture that assembled itself was this. The account had been opened 4 years ago. Not recently. 4 years ago, which was year 5 of our 9-year marriage. The funding had come from multiple sources. Renata's income, which was hers to do with as she chose, was a significant portion. But a smaller, consistent portion had come from the joint account, from transfers I had not noticed because they were sized to sit below the threshold I would have examined, $200 here, $300 there, the specific calibration of someone who understood their partner's financial attention and had calculated beneath it. 4 years of calibrated transfers. Gregory produced a number. The number was not the $30,000 in the account. The number was the portion of the $30,000 that had come from joint funds, from the shared account, from the marital assets that both of us had contributed to and both of us had claimed to. The number was $11,400. I sat in my office on Thursday evening with Gregory's document on my screen and I looked at that number for a long time. 4 years. Careful, consistent, calibrated. Below the threshold I would notice. Into an account I did not know existed. Under the phrase get out fund. She had been planning to leave me for 4 years. She had been saving for it while eating dinner with me and sleeping in our bed and saying the ordinary things of a person who is still in something. She had not left yet. Which meant either the plan was still in progress or something had changed or the $30,000 had not yet reached whatever number she had decided was sufficient to execute the plan. I closed Gregory's document. I called Dana. Dana answered on the second ring. I told her what Gregory had found. She was quiet for a moment. 11,000 from joint assets, she repeated. Over 4 years, I replied. Consistent amounts under your attention threshold, she continued. Yes, I replied. Dana was quiet for another moment. Joel, she told me. I want to be direct with you. Please, I replied. What your wife has done is not nothing, she told me. The hidden account funded partly from marital assets is actionable. The consistency of it over 4 years suggests planning rather than impulse. You have documentation now and you have a very clear picture of your financial position within this marriage. I waited. And you need to decide, she continued, in the next 24 to 48 hours, what you want to do with that picture. Because once you act, she will know you know, and the dynamic changes completely. I looked at the wall of my home office. Tell me my options, I told her. She told me. I listened to all of them. I chose one. Friday morning I went to the bank. Our bank. The joint account. I arrived at 9 when the branch opened and I sat across from a personal banker named Callum who had handled our accounts for 3 years and who looked at me with the professional warmth of someone who did not yet know what kind of appointment this was. I told him what kind of appointment it was. He looked at his screen. He looked at me. He made 3 phone calls. And by 11 on Friday morning the joint account had been restructured in a way that Dana had confirmed was within my legal rights as a co-account holder. The marital assets had been moved to a separate account in my name pending the formal process Dana was initiating, and the house, which was titled jointly and which I had been making the primary mortgage payment on for 9 years, had a legal notice attached to it that meant nothing could be transferred or encumbered without both signatures. By Friday afternoon, Dana had filed the initial paperwork. By Friday evening, Renata's access to what we had built together over 9 years was subject to a process she had not initiated and had not seen coming. Nothing in that house belonged to her the way it had belonged to her on Thursday. Not because I had taken it. Because she had been taking it for 4 years and I had found the account on a Tuesday and given myself until Friday to understand the picture completely before I acted on it. The picture was complete. I acted. Renata came home at 6:30 on Friday. I was in the kitchen. I had made dinner. Not as a performance of normalcy. Because I was hungry and making dinner was what I did on Friday evenings and I saw no reason to change the routine before the conversation. She put her bag down. She came into the kitchen. She looked at the food on the stove. She sat at the kitchen table. I put a plate in front of her. I sat across from her with my own plate. I ate 2 bites. Then I put my fork down. I need to tell you something, I told her. Renata looked at me across the table. I know about the account, I told her. The one at the online bank. I've known since Tuesday. She was very still. I know about the Get Out Fund, I continued. I know when it was opened. I know how it was funded. I know the portion that came from our joint account over the last 4 years. Her hands were on the table. I've spent this week understanding what I'm actually in, I told her. And today I took the steps I needed to take to protect my position. Dana Reeves filed the paperwork this afternoon. The joint account has been restructured. The house has a notice on it. Renata looked at her hands. You've already done it, she told me. Yes, I replied. Without talking to me, she told me. I looked at her. You saved $30,000 without talking to me, I replied. Over 4 years. 200 here, 300 there. Below the number I'd notice. That was a conversation you decided not to have. The kitchen was quiet. How did you find the account, she asked. You left your laptop open, I told her. She looked at the table. And the text, I told her. From Petra. About the Get Out Fund. Your phone was on the counter. She closed her eyes briefly. How long have you known you wanted to leave, I asked. The question landed in the kitchen and sat there. Renata looked at her hands for a long time. A while, she told me. 4 years is a while, I replied. She looked up. It wasn't decided, she told me. It was a safety net. In case. In case of what, I asked. She looked at her hands again. In case I needed it, she told me. I looked at my wife across the kitchen table. 9 years of that face. The coffee order and the sleep position and the phone holding when she was anxious. The laugh that was genuine versus politely genuine. I had known her completely. You needed a safety net from me, I told her. For 4 years. And you didn't tell me. She did not answer. That's the thing I keep coming back to, I continued. Not the money. The 4 years. The dinner conversations and the vacations and the ordinary days of a marriage that was running on the surface while you were building an exit underneath it. Renata's eyes were wet. I wasn't sure, she told me. About leaving. I wasn't planning it definitely. I was keeping the option open. For 4 years, I replied. For 4 years, she acknowledged. We sat at the kitchen table for a long time after that. Renata moved to her sister's house the following week. Not because I asked her to leave. Because Dana's filing had made the dynamic of the house impossible to ignore and because Renata, when she understood the scope of what I had done before the Friday dinner, understood that the familiar version of the marriage was no longer available. She left on a Sunday morning. She packed 2 bags. She looked at the house the way you look at something you are leaving, the specific inventory of a person registering what they are walking away from. I stood in the hallway while she packed. She came downstairs with the bags. She stood in the hallway with me. I'm sorry, she told me. I looked at her. I know, I replied. I handled it wrong, she continued. I should have talked to you. Yes, I replied. I was afraid, she told me. I looked at my wife in the hallway of our house with 2 bags. Afraid of what? I asked. She looked at the floor. That you would talk me out of it, she told me. That if I told you I was unhappy you would fix the surface things and I would stay and nothing would actually change. I stood with that. You didn't trust me to hear the real thing, I told her. No, she replied. The hallway was quiet. I would have heard it, I told her. I don't know what I would have done with it. But I would have heard it. She looked at me. I know that now, she told me. I think I knew it then too. That was part of what made it harder. She picked up her bags. She opened the front door. She looked back once. I was still standing in the hallway. She left. The legal process moved at legal speed. Dana was thorough and direct and did not perform sympathy she was not paid to provide, which was what I needed. The marital assets were the central question. The $11,400 from joint funds was documented. The account funding timeline was documented. Gregory's analysis was part of the record. Renata's attorney, a woman named Bridget, was competent and not aggressive, which told me something about what Renata had told Bridget about the circumstances. The settlement took 5 months. It was fair in the legal sense and not the sense of 9 years and 4 years of hidden preparation and the specific arithmetic of a marriage that had been running 2 parallel tracks simultaneously. The house sold in the spring. The equity divided correctly. The $11,400 returned to the marital asset pool for division, which meant the specific portion of it that was mine came back. I moved into an apartment in April. Petra called me once. Not Renata's Petra. A different Petra, a mutual friend who had known us both for 6 years and who had maintained the uncomfortable position of caring about both parties without being able to choose. She called to say she was sorry. That she had not known the full picture. That hearing it from both sides across 5 months had been disorienting. I told her I understood. She asked if I was okay. I told her I was getting there. She asked, carefully, if I was angry at Renata. I thought about the question honestly. I was angry at the account, I told her. At the 4 years. At the calibration, the keeping the amounts below what I'd notice. That felt like something calculated to deceive. And now, Petra asked. I looked at the window of my new apartment. Now I think about the fear she described, I told her. That she was afraid to tell me because I would fix the surface and nothing would change. And I think about whether she was right. Whether I would have heard the real thing. Would you have? Petra asked. I sat with the question. I think I would have tried, I told her. I don't know if trying would have been enough. But she didn't give me the chance to find out. Petra was quiet. That's the thing she took from you, she told me. More than the money. Yes, I replied. It is. The apartment has a kitchen that is not the kitchen we shared. I cook in it on Sundays and the cooking is mine and the quiet after the cooking is mine and the morning coffee is mine and none of it has to run on 2 tracks simultaneously. 1 track. 1 person. The clear, uncomplicated arithmetic of a life that belongs entirely to itself. I do not miss the marriage I thought I had. I miss the marriage I believed I was in, which is different, because the one I believed I was in did not exist in the form I believed it had. What existed was one person building a life and another person building a parallel exit, and the 2 things running alongside each other for 4 years, and me eating dinner and talking about nothing consequential while $30,000 accumulated in an account I did not know existed. She was not wrong that she was unhappy. She was wrong about how to handle it. Unhappy is a conversation. A get-out fund is a conclusion reached alone, carried alone, funded quietly for 4 years, discovered on a Tuesday when someone left a laptop open on a kitchen counter. If your partner is unhappy, you deserve to know. If your partner is planning to leave, you deserve to know. If your partner has been saving for 4 years in an account you cannot see, you already know everything you need to know about whether they trusted you with the truth. The account is not the betrayal. The silence is. $30,000 is just the price tag on 4 years of choosing not to say the real thing. Know what runs underneath your marriage before someone leaves a laptop open and you find out standing at a refrigerator looking at nothing.